So this idea that capitalism only worked because the world got massive technological growth in return, that's not true. I get comments like this every now and again, and it launches me into my capitalism has delayed progress in technology speech. So let's do it again. It's like my favorite speech at this point. Technological progress is not anywhere at any point in history the product of capitalism. Not once has capitalism encouraged human progress. Innovation and technological progress long predate capitalism. The compass, the printing press, gunpowder, windmills, even irrigation systems came from pre-capitalist societies. China, the Islamic caliphates, medieval Europe. These innovations occurred in feudal and command economies. Ancient civilizations like Mesopotamia and Greece and Egypt had aqueducts and catapults, cranes, even advanced metallurgy without any capitalist markets. The key industrial precursors were all the advancements that led to the Industrial Revolution. Every single one of them was a state-backed endeavour or guild-driven. A guild is a very, very old workers' cooperative, pretty communist concept actually. Before the Dutch could East India everywhere, the Dutch state had to build canals for their ships and had to build the ships. Britain had state-sponsored naval docks, and it was those state-sponsored workers who developed the early precision engineering that enabled all of this extraction. The majority of modern scientific breakthroughs were public or state funded. We got electricity, antibiotics, and the internet from public funding, not capitalists. Even GPS and space exploration were paid for by the state. NASA is funded by the federal government. Look what happened with SpaceX when they privatized that. How's that going for Elon? Are we in Mars yet? ARPANET, the internet, the US Department of Defense, that is taxpayer money. Nuclear energy, quantum computing, taxpayer fucking money. None of this was private investment. Actually, capitalism has consistently delayed human progress. Corporations frequently suppress any innovations that threaten their profits. That's why everyone's still putting petrol in their bloody cars, when we could have public infrastructure and electric vehicles. We live in a world where pharmaceutical companies limit the production of drugs that cure disease because treating it makes them more money. The Industrial Revolution was fueled by workers who worked 14-hour days and had no rights. Inventors like Nikola Tesla had their work stolen from them and they died poor, while the owners of the factories, the ones who earned passively off the labour of other people and have never created or thought of or invented a single fucking thing, they got to build monopolies with state backing. And to increase their profits, they drove child labour, colonial extraction, and massive environmental damage. Technological diffusion was slowed for profit. Patents and monopolies restrict access to innovation, while colonial and corporate empires continually block any kind of local industrialization in the countries that they exploit. China is leading the world at the moment in green tech and infrastructure at scale, not by relying on laissez-faire markets. China allows a certain amount of capitalist activity in its society, but these massive infrastructure projects are funded by the state, you see. And in Scandinavian countries where they have regulated socialist democracies, heavy regulation, welfare states, oh scary, and cooperative run businesses, these countries are outperforming raw capitalist societies on an exponential growth curve. They are innovating well above their weight in terms of capita and production, and they have the best quality of life and sustainable economies on the planet. They're not capitalists. They regulate capitalism. I must ask if you're American, because it is US culture that embeds this capitalist absolutism. Your textbooks, your media, Hollywood downplays slavery and normalizes capitalism. People like me, speaking honestly, are up against corporate-funded think tanks like the Heritage Foundation, who have promoted the myth that markets equal progress. But the market is a parasite leeching off of human progress. The Texas Board of Education voted in 2010 to downplay slavery and promote free market capitalism as central to America's success. The US government has spent billions of dollars to promote capitalism as freedom. Most Americans never learn that most of this was built on state subsidies. The interstate highway was publicly funded. Silicon Valley only exists because of Pentagon contracts. And these cheap conveniences rely on overseas colonial exploitation. If the free market was actually free, it would collapse within an hour. That's why they use quantitative easing to keep injecting money into Wall Street. American capitalism is impotent, fragile, and held up by subsidies. It has done nothing to benefit anyone. It just loves to take credit.